Ọ̀bágbẹ́mìró, Asaf Singer, Mary Kay, Oyè Olúwa, Ọmọọba ńlá, Fisdra, àti ọ̀gọ̀rọ̀ àwọn ìránṣẹ́ Ọlọ́run tó kún fún agbára ẹ̀mí mímọ́. Ọlọ́run ti pèsè kalẹ̀ fún ìtúsílẹ̀ gbogbo ènìyàn. Ẹ má sọ pé ìgbọ́ o. Ẹ wá bá Jésù àkiri ṣoore ní ọ̀sẹ̀ mẹ́ta òru mẹ́ta tọdún yìí. Ó dá mi lójú. Ọlọ́run yóò sì tọ̀ wá. Ó ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ nígbà ni. Special Apostle Ògúnwọlé akọ̀wé ìjọ. Lolùkéde Jésù lòlúwa.
Àkókò àánú àti oore ọ̀fẹ́ la ti ń gbọ́ láti ìjọ Kérúbù àti Séráfù onítẹ̀síwájú ẹ̀ka kẹfà. Ẹ pàdé wa lọ́sẹ̀ tó ń bọ̀ ní àkókò kan náà lórí ìkànnì. Fún ìbéèrè, ìgbaniníyànjú tàbí àdúrà, ẹ pè sórí ẹ̀rọ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ yìí 09059688261. Bákan náà, ẹ lè darapọ̀ mọ́ wa ní ilé ìjọsìn wa tó wà nínú ọgbà C&S College Tábòkè Ìlọrin ní gbogbo ọjọ́ ìsinmi ní agogo 10 òwúrọ̀. Ayọ̀ la ó fi pàdé lọ́sẹ̀ tó ń bọ̀. Ayọ̀ ni o.
I'm in love. I'm obsessed. And I don't even feel guilty about it.
Obsessions are not always bad, especially when it's an obsession with your favorite radio station, Diamond 88.7 FM. We're obsessed with enhancing your radio experience. Diamond 88.7 FM, shining supreme.
From the news desk of Diamond 88.7 FM Ilorin, this is News on the Hour.
In the headlines, President Tinubu begins 3-state tour set to spend Yuletide in Lagos. Yelwata attack victims to get 1 billion naira support items. Kwara APC group rejects zoning of governorship ticket ahead of 2027. NSCDC deploys 2,380 personnel across Kwara for Yuletide season. On the foreign scene, U.S. carries out massive strike against Islamic State's group in Syria. And in sports news, Anthony Joshua ends Jake Paul bout with 6th round knockout. A very good afternoon to you and thank you for staying with us on Diamond 88.7 FM Ilorin. This is News on the Hour. I am Nedu Okorie. We bring you details of the news after this break. Do stay with us.
Is there any opportunity in this country? I don't lose hope. Oh my God, jackpot.
Leaving the country may not be the solution that you think it is. Don't make leaving Nigeria the only solution to your life's challenges. Japa because you want to, but stop raising it as a solution to national issues that you can work on and fix. Nigeria will always be your home, and together we can make it better.
This message is reaching you from Diamond 88.7 FM Ilorin.
According to a statement from the Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onunuga, President Tinubu will depart Abuja today to visit Borno, Bauchi and Lagos states. While in Borno State, President Tinubu will commission some projects undertaken by Governor Babagana Zulum and the federal government. He will also have engagements while in the city. The technical committee set up by the Benue State government to implement interventions and support victims of attacks on Yelwata community has disclosed that it received a total of 1.275 billion naira from individuals and organizations. The secretary to the state government and chairman of the committee, Deborah Abe, who addressed journalists on Friday, announced the commencement of the distribution of intervention resources for the victims. Addressing journalists, Abe stated that a week-long series of activities had been lined up for the disbursements of intervention materials to internally displaced persons, with the distribution of food and non-food items beginning on Friday. She added that construction of new houses for a cluster settlement is ongoing in Yelwata community, while 1,000 IDPs will receive conditional cash transfers. An All Progressives Congress pressure group in Kwara State, the Kwara Political Leaders of Thought, K-Plot, has kicked against calls to zone the party's governorship ticket ahead of the 2027 general elections, insisting that leadership choice should be based on competence rather than senatorial considerations. The group's position comes amid growing agitation by some political leaders and groups in Kwara North Senatorial District demanding that the APC zone the 2027 governorship ticket to the area. Speaking with journalists in Ilorin on Friday, the K-Plot leader, Mohammed Mariam Al-Hassan, said the ideal candidates to govern Kwara in 2027 could emerge from any of the 3 senatorial districts, North, South or Central, provided such a person possesses the capacity to address the state's mounting challenges, especially insecurity. A federal high court in Abuja has dismissed an application seeking to restrain the African Democratic Congress ADC from holding conventions, congresses, or meetings to elect or ratify members of its executive bodies and other party structures. In his ruling on Friday, Justice Emeka Nwite refused the ex parte motion filed by a former deputy national chairman of the ADC, Nofiu Bala Gombe, noting that granting such an application without hearing FT officers and men to strengthen the protection of critical national assets, safeguard public facilities, and ensure the safety of residents throughout the Yuletide season. The commandant disclosed that the deployment covers all 16 local government areas of the state, with personnel drawn from elite and specialized units. A statement by the spokesman of the command, Ayola Michael Shola, in Ilorin today said officers have been strategically positioned based on threat assessment. The recent appointment of qualified Kwara State indigents into staff positions at the university. In a statement issued by its General Secretary, Ambassador Comrade David Taiwo Ashaolu, Kwayog congratulated the newly appointed staff and described the recruitment exercise as fair and merit-driven, while specifically praising the Pro-Chancellor and Chairman of the Governing Council, Professor Wale Suleiman CON, alongside the university management for promoting inclusive governance and against Islamic State group in Syria. Please stay with us. We'll be right back.
They never sabi anything. Now we get this town and city and we go burn and down as long as say you they give us better money. Nothing consign us. Just give us the change and we go scatter ground.
Young man,
And you're welcome back from the break. You're still listening to the news on the hour, reaching you from Diamond 88.7 FM Ilorin. We now move on to the foreign scene. The United States says its military has carried out a massive strike against the Islamic State group in Syria in response to a 13 December deadly attack on American forces in the country. The U.S. Central Command, CENTCOM, said fighter jets, attack helicopters, and artillery struck more than 70 targets at multiple locations across central Syria, even as aircraft from Jordan were also involved. The government said the operation employed more than 100 precision munitions targeting known Islamic State infrastructure and weapon sites. Still on the foreign scene, French farmers staged an early morning protest on Friday outside President Emmanuel Macron's residence in the seaside town of Le Touquet, despite a delay in the signing of the controversial EU-Mercosur trade agreement. At the call of the main farming union and the Young Farmers Group, around 50 farmers gathered on the seafront from as early as 5:30 a.m. with about 30 tractors lining the farm. Police were deployed to monitor the demonstrations, though no incidents were reported. The protest follows large-scale demonstrations in Brussels a day earlier, where thousands of farmers rallied against the proposed free trade deal between the European Union and South American Mercosur countries. And that's it on the foreign scene. We now move on to our sports story. Former world heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua has defeated YouTuber turned boxer Jake Paul by knockout in the 6th round of their much hyped bout in Miami earlier today. Fighting for the first time in 15 months, the two-time heavyweight champion eventually imposed his size, strength, and experience in an 8-round contest. Despite early resistance from Paul, Joshua's power proved decisive in the later stage. Joshua remained the more dangerous fighter throughout, landing 48 out of 146 punches compared to Paul's 16 landed shots, underlining the gulf in class despite the delayed finish. Meanwhile, the bout, staged at the Kaseya Center and reportedly carrying a combined purse of $184 million, drew criticism for its uneven matchup and scrappy exchanges. And that's it in sports news. With that, we've come to the end of News on the Hour. But before we go, here is the recap of the major highlights. President Tinubu begins a 3-state tour set to spend Yuletide in Lagos. Yawata attack victims to get 1 billion naira support items. Kwara APC group rejects zoning of governorship ticket ahead of 2027. NSCDC deploys 2,380 personnel across Kwara for Yuletide season. On the foreign scene, U.S. carries out massive strike against Islamic State group in Syria. In sports news, Anthony Joshua ends Jake Paul bout with 6th round knockout. Did you know that on this day in 1941, U.S. President Franklin D. Roosevelt and British Prime Minister Winston Churchill met in Washington, D.C. to discuss World War II, 2 weeks after the Pearl Harbor attack? Now you know. For news coverage or information about happenings around you, kindly contact Diamond FM newsroom number on 0916 062 7526 0916 062 7526. On behalf of the production crew, I am Nedu Okorie. Thank you for listening to your shining supreme station. The News on the Hour in Yoruba language comes up shortly. A wonderful afternoon to you.
Pọ́ǹpì concept látúntún ara là ń gbé jáde o. Magic season promo tún lè léyìí o.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni o, káàkiri ìlú gbogbo tí iléeṣẹ́ wa tí Pọ́ǹpì concept onílé ìfọ̀kànbalẹ̀ pẹ̀ka dé ní Nàìjíríà.